All right. Welcome back inside the vault, off the hinges. I hope you are gearing up for a great weekend. Man, I'm pre-recording this, but this friend I have today, she is so special and dear to my heart and my family's heart. And she doesn't really need an introduction with probably a lot of y'all, but my partner in crime in Back to Good, Fred Hill, this is his lovely wife, Dawny. And man, we were just chatting before we started, and I'm going to hand it over to her to introduce as I sip the coffee, because today we're diving into rest. And physically, I could use rest. I think emotionally, spiritually, all of the things you can think of, rest.
Absolutely.
Bring it my way. Good Lord. I mean,
Mine
that literally.
Too.
Oh, man. But it's such a timely conversation. This is such an important episode for me. And she's just such a dear friend, and I'm so honored to have her here. So I'm going to hand it over to her. But there's big time for Dawny, because the next time, if y'all stay tuned to the end, Dawny, on my behalf, is going to reveal why I am taking a pause or a sabbatical or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to let her share that with y'all. And I'm not going to timestamp it. So you just got to listen, because there's some big news.
You got to do it.
She's going to drop it. And I promise you the space between is going to be amazing, because it's going to be filled with her insight. But in a month's time, she's going to be defending her dissertation. So next time you see me, it's going to be a different space for me. Next time I see her, and maybe y'all as well, it's going to be Dr. Hill. Whoa. So, man, I'm just going to stop talking.
Long time coming.
Say hi to the people. Tell them what's up.
Oh, my goodness. Hi, everybody. Josh, thank you so much for this invitation. What a delight to be here with you in the vault. You're sipping on coffee this morning. I'm sipping on water, trying to get it in.
Good for you.
And oh, goodness, it is such a great pleasure. I am Dawny Hill, and I am coming from Charlotte, North Carolina. And
QC.
Woohoo! The Queen City, and just so excited to be talking about something that is really important in my world, in my space right now.
Yeah.
Whew. Something really, really important.
Fun fact, both of us, well, and our spouses as well, are parents to 3 girls. So, like, we got that going on. Last time I saw Dawny, tell the people last time we saw each other what we were doing. This was a bold move by us, but it was fun.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yes, it was. 4 parents, 6 girls, Disney Paris. We went.
Yo.
We saw. We conquered. We slept.
Something.
We did something. We made it. We're here. We're here to tell the story. We are here.
We sure are. That was so special, because it was Aria's birthday, her 9th birthday, and she got to spend it. And I had to tell her, we did not make the trip just for your birthday. This wasn't a birthday trip, because then expectations on the rest are going to be like, oh, Disney Paris every birthday, right?
High. Yeah.
It was coincident and helpful for her that we got to celebrate her birthday, but it was just a family trip, putting that out there for the little ones when they listen later down the road. We didn't jip you. It just aligned. But they were there. We got to have a beautiful dinner with their family and, Fred's sister as well. So it was just so cool to share that like really unique experience in Paris. You don't get to do that often. So
that was such a gift. That was so wonderful.
So cool. And these are the type of people. This is why I love this family. One of the many reasons. I could give you a laundry list, but when they say they're going to do something, it's just like, hey, we're going to come to Europe. Do y'all want to meet up? And when Fred or Dawny Hill say something, their yes is yes, their no is no. There's no mincing words. It's just like, you want to do it? Okay, we're doing it. And you can take it to the bank. It's happening. And we're like, this is so cool, because I love y'all. But
we're doing this.
For a long time, y'all been like, oh, maybe we should come out to Norway. You know who you are. I still love you. But it's like, that probably won't happen. But if they say they're coming, you're like, oh, yo, put this on the calendar. It's going down. So
let's do it. Good. And Josh, I wish I could take a little bit of credit for that, but that's mostly your boy. He is a man of his word. And if he says he's going to do it, he is going to do it.
But you're a woman of your word, too. I'll give you that. Well, good job giving honor to Fred, because he deserves it.
Yeah,
y'all are good together. That's right.
Yes.
All right, so I'm so excited for this. It is such an important virtue. I think
it is.
Some people might have preconceived or misconceived notions of rest, or think of it strictly physically. Hopefully we can deep dive this for what it really is. But for people that might have dialed into the framing episode I did, the question I gave them, and go back and listen to that if you didn't, I'm not going to waste the time regurgitating it. But the question I offered for y'all to sort of wrestle with is, what does your presence offer to the soul of those you are called to lead. And I think it's really important. It's like I wanted to hit it straight at the heart of it, like not just a physical aspect, but like the soul. Like what do you offer? And of course, it's through the lens and the filter of rest. So go listen to that and you help frame it maybe. But there's so much to go into here from such a gifted woman and wife and mother and friend. And she just lives it. I'm telling you, like I talk to Fred about this, her husband, all the time, but like people can tell you what they're about. And then you can just watch the fruit of what they create through the lives of their communication and their action. And Dawny's fruit is, man, it's good because that is who she is. And I know you're going to be like, I struggle, but that's who you are.
Yeah, I'll keep it real. No need to add all the pretense of I have arrived because I feel like that's a lifelong journey. But yes, even as we were logging in and we were talking about just the importance, I am not too sure how the virtue of rest was what really was something. I was like, oh yeah, I got this. And I think, whenever you say you're going to do something, that's when you get the challenge of really trying to sit in it, or you get the challenges of it.
Yep.
So this week has been a week of trying to fight for rest or lack thereof in many spaces. And so as I look back, right, hindsight, as I look back and think and say, okay, yeah, I've been getting rest at night and all of this. This week has been, I have not been resting. I have had headaches because I haven't been resting, right? Decisions have not been well because of the lack of rest. And so it just highlights the importance of the need for not only that physical, but the rest that we're going to tap into as well.
Yeah. And I'll say this, and I'm going to turn it over to you for our first 3 questions, how I always ask people.
Yes.
So I'm excited for this. But I will do this just to frame it first, and I usually do this towards the end, but I want the girls to hear this up front. For your girls as well, and for Laura and Aria and Alessia and Karina, this is always for you girls, and I love you. But I've challenged my girls a lot with this, and I try to tell them very explicitly and deliberately that everything I do inside of this space, inside of the vault, and it's named that for a reason, a vault should hold treasures. And I named it that because we're doing virtue development for leadership identity. And of course it applies to coaching that I do, but really it's for them. And the heartbeat and the creative sort of spark of why I named it this for virtue development was I wanted it to be a treasure chest they could dive back into later throughout their lives. And I think of the passage in scripture, and for those of y'all that aren't Christians, like it's not just a faith-based thing, but that is who we are. That's a faith we share. So this applies to everyone. But in the Bible, there's a verse in Proverbs 31 that says, who can find a virtuous woman? Her price is above rubies. And I tell the girls all the time, like, you've got to work on the inside first at the small age, like work on these characteristics and virtues that you can develop.
That's good.
So the first one that we ever did, episode 1, virtue 1, was humility with my dear friend Garita from Bermuda. She's amazing. And before we enter into this season of a little bit of a pause and break during some life changes for me and the family, I get to wrap it up with such a strong, and I mean this sincerely, a virtuous woman. And I know the type of person this is. And that's such a gift, girls, for you, and also Dawny, for your daughters, just to be able to look at these conversations with really strong women who bring something that other people can't, that I know I definitely can't. And I'm just going to give you praise and honor in that, because that is a gift. And I am so honored for this space with you. So we're going to dive in. That's what we're going to do. We're going to stop jaw-jacking about it. All right. Off the top ropes. What are you thankful for this week?
Oh, I am thankful for the opportunity to be with you. That's number one. And
Likewise.
Also to have breath to wake up for this day, because that means that I'm still purposed to do something. And so that as much as many things have happened and have not happened this week, I mean, we're Thursday, so we've had some days behind us.
Yeah.
I am thankful for another day to get things right and to be able to get one step closer and to work in my purpose. So that's what I'm thankful for.
I love it. I'm glad you're here as well, my friend. And for breath. That's a good one. The simple things.
Yeah.
Like
simple.
Thankfulness for the smallest of things that aren't so small, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my goodness. So this is a big one for you anyway, because we just mentioned you're a month out from dissertation, but
Yes.
Tackle this beast however you want. What have you been learning lately?
Oh, well, this week during my time of lack of rest, I have been learning how to try to, and I will go dissertation because this is what has been my mountain over the last several months. But this week it has been inter-rater reliability. And I'm grateful to say that I have learned how to work those statistics in the data as of last night. And that was like a 2-day full day thing coming. And finally, I hit the top of that mountain. So that is what I learned. Perseverance. I learned perseverance. I learned perseverance. So I can say it's the statistics, but what I learned in myself was perseverance.
The old stick-to-itiveness.
Yes, stick to it, because I was, you want to, you think that it's going to go well, and it doesn't. You want to, you think it's going to go well, and it doesn't. And then there's a glimpse to say, but maybe if I stop now, what will that mean?
Yeah.
And I said, I don't even need to consider that. Another thought. You have to continue to stick with it and get it.
That self-discipline is so priceless. Oh my goodness. Girls, y'all better listen up to Miss Dawny because it's everything. Ain't no one going to discipline you to do the things you need to do. That is only a you thing.
Yes. And the thing about it is, it doesn't feel good. It's not that I wanted to do it. And I didn't think it was fair.
Yeah.
But I had to continue to do it. And so I think that was something for me. Like, no one was going to just come down and do it for me. My advisors were not going to take over and do it. There was not going to be just a magic, let me do it the easy way. Well, they told me not to do it the easy way because that wasn't the best way. So I needed to do this way that was going to be harder. So just thinking about it did not feel, look, seem fair, good, or any of the above. I just had to continue to push along with it.
That's amazing. Good for you. Without stealing into your story, because maybe you'll go there, but can you give them a snippet of what your dissertation or what you're studying for your doctorate? Let the people know what's up. Yeah.
So I am a speech pathologist by career path, and I have had the great honor of working with many students who have had difficulty reading. And so as a speech pathologist, I always thought it was odd for me to have to read what they needed before I could get to my part of language, not like learning a second language, but learning how to vocabulary and understanding text and answering questions and all of those kinds of things, until I got some really great experience at a wonderful school when we lived in Atlanta. And realized I could do more than just the speech therapy things that I learned in school. And so that really sparked my interest of reading and being able to help students learn how to read. And so my doctorate is in the science of reading, because there is a science, decades long, of science of how we can teach children to read. And it's not by guessing. It's not by memory. There are step-by-step things that we can do. And so my doctorate is in reading science. And my hope is that with what I have as a speech pathologist, and also with my expertise with reading, that I can help move the needle in the lives of students who really need it. And that's a lot of students who have not gotten it, and adults too.
Yeah. I thought of you this morning, not just because we were going to be recording tonight, but I was sitting there, made some oatmeal, and, was getting ready to gear up for work. I had to take the older two to school. So Laura took Karina to Barnahog, and I was dropping the older two off before I went into work this morning. And it was like post-gym and everything. And I'm sitting there like eating oatmeal, whatever, having a little bread. And I look over and I was just thinking of all that you've been doing with the reading stuff. And also Aria, before we moved here, in the transition here, she was really struggling with reading, really, really big time. And that's part of the reason why we didn't put her into a Norwegian school, because I was like, oh, she's struggling with some core tenets of like our own language. And she's at that age where like she really needs to understand reading her own language. And it's not that she hated it, but she was really frustrated. Speaking of the discipline, Ari, I'm so proud of you. You did amazing with this a couple of years ago when we moved here. New culture,
awesome.
new country, new language. She's going to a new school, left her friends, the shifting that always happens with what my job does. But she had such a patient teacher who really helped her. And then it was like a light bulb. And this morning when I was sitting there eating breakfast, she does this every morning. She sits there while she's eating and she just loves to read. Maybe it's her Bible, maybe it's a little cartoon book, maybe it's she can't put a book down. And I look at like when she used to be like, Daddy, I don't like this, I hate it. And she wanted to be done with it. And now fast forward to today, and you can't pull a book out of that little girl's hands. She loves it. And that is awesome. It's such a gift. And I just thought, I was like, man, this is like what her teacher did for her. She was an amazing teacher, but just gave her the opportunities. And it's so important. And the spirit of who's doing it too, like you can have all the knowledge, but it takes someone like you who has the gift of patience and who's a welcoming individual to encourage people that it's okay. Like you will get better. Like that's tough when you can't, like you said, you can't fix it for them. They have to click with it, but you can make it easier for them, maybe through some science or proven methods. So that's so cool. But Ari made me think of you.
That's so awesome. No.
I know. She's such a little rock star. She's always reading. Okay.
That is amazing.
So speaking of rest, this is ironic, maybe because I always ask this the same way to everybody, but now we got to actually talk about the thing. So as you find, I hope, rest and reflection, what's one area of your life where you're focused on growing and transforming the most right now?
Now that I'm transitioning out of this season of school, I feel like my focus is reshifting. And what I'm determined to work on is my presence as well as, so this is all what I'm working on. It's all me. So it's not like I want to learn this. I do have a lot of things I want to learn, but I'm like, I need to focus on me so I can give to others. But I want to work on reinserting my presence in a very productive way in my family. So with Fred, as well as my girls, because what I know for sure is that within this season, I've been graced within the last 3-ish years to be able to do this work and to be back in school and to do all of that. But I know, and I've just been feeling a really big tugging that it is coming to an end, and I need to start transitioning back into a space where I am the best version of myself, whether that's by rest, whether that's my thought processes, the decisions that I'm making, my responses, so that, as you mentioned, right, this is all virtue building, especially for our girls, and what they're seeing is what they're going to remember. And so that's what I'm working on, is that I am ever evolving to be able to give them what they need, because they'll never be in this space again. They'll never be at this age again. And so I don't want to be the hindrance because, mama's tired, or, just give me great, right? All the things I can come up with. But that's what I'm excited about working on.
I love that, man. And you could say that again louder for the people in the back. Like, what they see is what they will remember. Things are taught long before they're taught. Like, you can talk about things until the cows come home, man. But what your kids see you and the hubby doing, like same for me and Laura, we're like, what we model through our actions and through our behaviors and communication is what they will do.
Is what they will do. And I see it, right? We see it.
Man.
We see it. And they're not all things that I'm proud of. They're not all things, right? It was because I was this and I had this excuse of that, but they don't see the excuses. They don't understand all of the adulting that we do, and that the decisions that we're having to make, and the conversation we had before we picked them up from school with an adult who was this and that, right? So they don't see that. What they see is our response to them. And I really want to work on how they see me. And that's not like a superficial how they see me, but
no, I know it's not.
We are their role models. And I want them to not look and say, "Ooh, no, not her. I think I probably want to mimic her instead because she is this, and this, and not my mom." And so that's a big deal to me. And it's becoming a bigger deal. It's becoming a bigger deal. It's becoming more apparent.
It is. I love that though, because I'm not gonna steal your thunder because I don't even know what that is. I'll tell y'all, like, of course, these questions, Dawny had a chance to look into them because she's gonna give diligence to bringing her best self to answer them for all of us.
Yes.
And I don't even know what her responses are. So, like, I say steal her thunder. I don't even know what her thunder is, but I know she's packing it. But whatever she's gonna say, I don't know. So I won't like try to lead this or rudder steer it anywhere. But I do just feel as a parent, so much of the gift and offering through our presence of rest to our children comes through the ability, and it is directly correlated to our ability to physically be present and visibly be available.
Yeah.
Like I need to physically be present and visibly look like I'm fully available.
Yeah.
And that welcomes them into a space of maybe connecting and resting at a deep level. So I love that you point that out. That's a challenge to really look at yourself as a parent and go like, "Ooh, I need to recalibrate this a little bit."
Because it becomes present, right? Like you can see, you know it. You know when you have done something and you see the response and the reaction of your child as they walk away, right?
Like the Lydias and Karinas of the world.
Absolutely, right? As it's like shoulders down, like defeated, but and sometimes it is because they're just who they are and they want something and they want it immediately. But there are other times when it is, right. It's more of the me and not them.
Mm-hmm. Oh man.
So, yeah.
That is true. All right. Before we dive into your story and some of these great questions for you, this next question is it may not be my favorite one to ask. That's probably the next one. But this next one might be the most important for the listeners because as we're framing this virtue, I think it's really important to get the lens, if you're listening, of the guest. Because if you try to filter it through your own preconceived notions or your own bias or your own lens of how you interpret a thing, you won't really get the heart of what Dawny is trying to tell you. So Dawny, how would you define or frame this virtue of rest through your own lens?
Yes. So when I chose the word rest, I was thinking in one specific way, and that was what I think many people were thinking. But as I started to dive in, something else came through. So that rest, meaning that physical rest, that sleeping, that getting that time, that downtime, that ceasing of activity, right? If you look and you define rest, it's going to be the cease of activity. And so that has been a goal of mine. And I go back to school, everybody, sorry, that is just my point of reference right now because I've been all consumed by school. And so that was something that I was burning the candles at both ends of not doing this rest thing. I was staying up late because I wanted to be present during the day, not only with my clients, but my children. So I would stay up late when they went to sleep, and then I would wake up early so I could be able to get something in, which meant there was a smaller window. I don't know, sometimes 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours where I would actually rest. If I was at 5, I was good. Ooh, I got 5 hours of sleep.
Oh, that's heavenly. What? Yep.
Heaven, right? And so I was starting to realize at that point that there were many things about me that were changing because I was working on a very short amount of rest. And so and we'll get more into what was changing here in a little bit, but the rest. So I originally thought rest meaning sleep, the cease of activity. And then after, as you mentioned, I'm a believer. And so I look at it in a biblical sense too. And there is an invitation. And so I consider rest an invitation from God that, when we are in the height of things, like as I mentioned earlier, like trying to figure out these statistics for 3 days and not getting the go and push and hitting a wall, that there is a rest, there's an invitation to rest, meaning to cease from the worry, from the concern, from the I need to handle it, and giving it to the Creator who is the creator of all of it. And so that to me is the second part of rest, is giving it away. And it's like, it's an invitation, but it's also an opportunity for peace with it, to gain peace, to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to rest in this, meaning I'm going to take the I'm going to accept this invitation to not worry, strain, and struggle. It's still going to be there. That doesn't mean it disappears, but it means that I change my response and my reaction to it because I know it will work out for my good. And so that is a rest where I am giving it to the Creator and saying, okay, I'm resting in you. I'm resting in you, knowing that you're the supplier of all of my needs, that you are the one who you knew I didn't want to do this doctorate. I did not. This was a no. So we find ourselves thinking about, I didn't want to do this anyway. And it's like, so I'm going to rest in you. I'm going to rest in you because you know the next move and I don't. So those would be the two
rest
ones.
Isn't escapism, everybody. Like,
no, it is not.
You don't get to escape your tasks just because you're claiming to rest. Quite the opposite.
No. Rest means that you're a little bit more at peace, that you know that they're going to be solved. That you know that it's going to come, whatever the end result is going to be the end result, and you're going to be okay in the process. Like, that's rest. That's like that being assured that it's going to work out.
Yeah. I love that.
Whatever that means, right?
With me, I hear that
whatever
because the rest is the physical rest, of course, that's very important. And you and I share that beast that we've had to grapple with, especially with the studying and all that stuff. It's a lot,
yes.
Right? But maybe this is an assumption, but so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but what I hear you saying, and I believe it this way too, but the way I would frame it is like, you can't really do a sleep study to measure the type of rest that Dawny's talking about. Because you might pass a sleep study with flying colors and like, oh, physically you are well rested, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's like, and that's an important part of rest. And I don't think we're going to sidestep that today. It's important. And you've heard her tip into it. But the rest that can't be measured, for the parts of you that can't be seen or necessarily like with human understanding or words defined or described, there's a rest that can come to that part. And that sort of rest is beyond measure or explanation.
Absolutely.
It can't be really encapsulated with any words that I could tell you, but I think we all know what we're talking about. Like, it is sort of that sense of peace or worry, that anxiety and that angst, or that just, my shoulders can drop a little bit. And I do feel contentment and peace with whatever the thing is. And sometimes that posture offers physical rest. It's hard to get physical rest without that posture.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that just because you're physically resting and sleeping through the night means that you are really getting the type of rest Dawny's going to speak about. And it's important to understand the two sides of that coin.
Yes.
Because it is one coin, but they are vastly different to me. I've experienced seasons where one is good and the other one's trash.
Yes.
And that's so unhealthy for the whole me.
Yes.
Oh.
And I've experienced it the other way, where like one is good and one is bad. So it's like that yin and the yang, where I could get 8 hours of sleep and still wake up feeling not rested at all.
Yes.
Or 9 hours of sleep and not rested, where I still wake up with a headache, or I still wake up with the worry and the concern, even though I got the physical rest. So it could happen both ways, where it's like, you've got this.
you can't sleep yourself into this sort of soul rest that she's going to talk about. Like, there's no amount of sleeping and snoozing and cat naps that's going to offer the rest that I think you really I would argue that you need more than anything.
Absolutely.
But oh my goodness. Well, thanks for that framework. That's very useful. And now, this is my favorite question, hands down. Everybody knows that if they've heard this. It's what my dad used to ask people, and it's just so fun to be open-ended and just let people go with it. So you take this wherever you want. But Dawny, what is your story?
Oh, I feel like I have chapters in a chapter book. And so chapters, let's see, I was thinking about this and I was like, where do you go with this? Thanks, Josh.
You want to start at chapter 1? Let's go chapter 1. Start there and then you just sift through the book as you want. Yeah.
Chapter 1, quickly. I am the daughter of a retired lieutenant colonel, jump master for the 82nd Airborne of the U.S. Army, and a licensed psychologist who used to be a speech pathologist. And I have been raised as a military child and as a child of a psychologist. So there was a little yin and yang to that, right? So a lot of the quirks and isms that I think I would have, my mother counseled me or tried to counsel me out of some of those things, right?
Okay.
So that was good. I am also the wife of a kindergarten friend who I don't think, I mean, he knows. Remember, we talked about here's a prime example. We know that my husband is a man of his word and is a man who this is what he says he's going to do and this is what he is not going to do.
Man, I love Fred.
And maybe back there in kindergarten, that's exactly what he said. I was not that person. I was not that's him. It took me, I don't know, almost 30 plus years to realize that, but I am so grateful, right, for that level of grace that was extended to me. As you mentioned, I am the mom of 3 Supremes, who we call them the Supremes.
Love it.
And they are rocking my world, but I see a lot of me, a lot of Fred, and a lot of them. And so it's kind of like, whoa, I know that person. Ooh, I don't know that person. Ooh, I know that person. So a lot of working. And so and I also mentioned I'm a speech pathologist, and I love, my maiden name is Foster. And so I believe that a part of my calling is to help, because Foster means to help and to come alongside and to support. And that really has been my lifelong journey, whether it's volunteering or whether it's in my work or whether it's whatever. I go back to that name. It's something in a name. And so,
it's true.
So I go back to that, and I feel like that is still in me, to foster, to care, to help support is still in me. I am also a mover. I'm a movement enthusiast. I have moved since I was a young age. My mom saw it in me and put me in gymnastics, put me in dance, and at the ripe grade of 4th grade, I said that I wanted to become a professional cheerleader. And I wanted to cheer for the Washington Redskins, because that was our family team. And I stuck that dream in my heart. And I did not become a Washington Redskins cheerleader, but I did have the fantastic opportunity to cheer for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for 4 seasons. And that speaks to me about when you know that you have a desire and you have a dream that may seem so outlandish and so large and so beyond you, just tuck it away, because maybe there's something in it.
Right.
And so I am grateful for that amazing opportunity, because that got me not only the opportunity to go to the biggest game, which and I mean, when whoever's watching this, yes, the Seattle Seahawks just won the Super Bowl this past Sunday. Yep. And I will say that I got a chance to do that big dance with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in my first season. And so that's was
so cool.
A high of highs. Yes. Just to be able to experience that and to cheer on my home team to a victory. So that is another chapter of me. And I know that I'm like sifting through a book from like an early chapter to an end, but don't we do that sometimes?
We do it anyway. You take this wherever you want.
Let me see what's happening in this back chapter. And
Hold
then
on, I
want
to go back to chapter 3 real quick. Let's go back.
Yeah. Let's see what's happening.
You're giving us a table of contents. That's what I hear. That's good.
I'm telling you. If the chapter sounds good, let's go to it.
Let's do it.
So I talked a little bit about work, but and I talked a moment about children, but I feel like even in the time of just my story, I've had the highest of highs, meaning to be able to earn that medal and that award of being a world champion cheerleader, right? But I have also seen, as I was preparing, I was like, but I've also feel like I've seen kind of the low of lows, because my first child was a medically fragile child. So like you think that when someone is on the top, you're like, oh, nothing can happen to them. And yeah, right. We all know in life that is not how life goes, right? And that's also a side little pin for us to say, we shouldn't judge something by just the small things that we hear, because we need to hear the rest of the story of what maybe someone is going through. That's a session for a totally different day.
Oh,
but,
Lord.
But as a new mom, I experienced, some major lows by having a 2-pound, 14-ounce first baby who stayed in the hospital for 9 months, was trached. We had a nurse for 4 years. Fred and I had seen her revived more times than anyone would even want to count on one or two hands.
Right.
And so I feel like just in my lifetime, and I don't feel like I am like, ooh, I've had a whole lifetime, but I feel like I've had a lifetime of great, of challenges, of learning, of lows, all of these things. And what I know for sure is all of that has really purposed me for who I am now. So short but long of it, yet still short of it. That is my story, and I'm going to stick to it.
I love it. Well, you got to stick to it. It's your story. I dig it
Yep,
too.
it's mine. Nobody else's.
But yeah, I mean, you were talking about Atlanta. That gives a throwback because I think we met y'all because neither Donnie and Fred nor Laura and I were married yet.
No.
But because Laura was still living in Georgia. I'm sorry, in South Carolina, because I was in Atlanta area.
And I was,
yeah.
And I was in North Carolina.
Right, exactly. So we met around that time frame in 2010. And then once I proposed to Laura, then she moved into an apartment in the Marietta area, in like Cobb County, just outside of Atlanta, right? And then, so that whole season was when we were sort of collectively coming together and individually in our relationships sort of coming together around. But that's like 15, 16 years ago, like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And now we each got 3 little girls. Oh, good Lord. It just zips on by. I don't know. It
does.
If you were to ask me that question, like, what's your story? I'd be like, where do I begin? I don't know. Like,
there's no way.
It's so hard. But that's impressive. I mean, it also made me chuckle when you're like, oh, your father was in the military and your mom's a psychologist. I was like, for my girls, I'm so sorry because they got a dad who's a military officer and a psychologist. Just like, God, they got it both in one dude.
All in one.
Oh, Lord, I'm so sorry to all of you girls. Goodness gracious. If you need help or like guidance on what that's like, just call and talk to Miss Dawny. She'll tell you what's up. She knows all of that.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Oh man.
I'm a recovering daughter of an officer and a recovering daughter of a psychologist, and I still talk about that.
Girls, I'm sorry for whatever you got to recover. I'll do my best that it's not. I don't know. I can't promise you anything. I don't know.
They will appreciate it when I appreciate it now. Then I did not.
I know.
Right?
I know. Oh my goodness gracious. So where are you from originally though? Are you from Carolina?
I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina, Fort Bragg.
That's right.
My dad was stationed there. We pitched a tent there, and my mom said, this is where we will reside.
It's so cool to hear the highlights of just your story though, because I know these things about you, but to be honest, of course, they're not always front of mind. So to hear you reminding me of like, oh, cheerleading. Sometimes when I have guests on, and even when I know them, then I rehear like their story of who they are. I'm like, how do I meet these people? This is incredible. I'm like, it's just like, I forget so much about y'all. Like, it's not like it's a conversation every time we're together. Then I hear it. I'm like, that's incredible. Hold on. I know. It's, okay. Yeah, that's right. Like,
I feel the same way. I love it. I love to hear people's stories.
But like you said, if you're just patient enough to ask the deeper questions and then give someone the time and space to walk it out for you, you will be amazed. I always am, even with people I know, but just with a stranger, like anyone, like, hey, and listen, the people, like you said, so many people, it's hard not to be quick to judge. And I think we're told the way we believe not to judge. Yes. We're told not to do the things that we have a proclivity to do. Like
absolutely
the things that we are very quick to do. We're told, don't do that.
Don't do it. It's easy to judge. And you're like, oh, don't do it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Everyone judges. Everyone does. And if if you say you don't, you're lying, and you also shouldn't do that thing. But
there we go.
But like, if you don't judge and you just say, what's your story? And you sit back, it's amazing what you can hear in the parts of people that you can meet that you never would have known, or maybe like me with you, like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. It just resurfaces like the value of every human that I think is so important. Oh, God,
and as you're saying that, what it also, just as I'm pulling it back to rest for a second, sometimes if we do that, then we're able to rest in our own story and not want to be envious about someone else's story.
Oof.
Right? Because I feel like sometimes we don't rest because we're wanting to be, I want to be like that. I want to do, I got right. The whole deal of not resting. And so when we allow someone to tell their story, then you're like, oh, wow, that is your story. I don't want your story. I don't need your story, right? You have more of a time to say, that story is so wonderful. for you.
Right.
So now I don't even want to then now think about what 20 things I need to do after I hear Josh's, say 2 or 3 things about himself. And I'm like, I should have been doing that. Why am I not? Right. And now I'm really not resting because I'm thinking about all the things now I need to do to get to where you are for your own journey. Right.
Yeah. No, and it's true. It's like that comparison trap it's just so bad and evil. Like it's so not good. And just, it's a joy to hear people share with confidence and with gratitude, like what you have for who you are, all the good, bads, and in-betweens. Like that is Dawny Hill. And that story is nobody else's to own. And that's such a beautiful thing. Nobody else's. And I just, there are going to be a couple times throughout this episode that I'm going to sort of slow down at some of these spaces for you all, because this will be the last episode for a while, but I want to impress it. Like that is so needed in today's society across the globe. Like just flip on the news or social media or anything. Look at everything that's boiling over. Yes. And I would say arguably, I mean, there's some different things, but like people have always been people, and like there's always been nastiness in the world, and there's always been these opportunities for good to present itself and for evil to present itself. And you get both. It's a mixed bag. But man, if you want to shine some light on the darkness out there that's going on, show up a good person that is, quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger, maybe slow to judge, and just sit with people and hear their story. Yeah. And don't give them a clap back. Just say like, thanks for sharing that. I'm so glad I learned about you. Even if you don't like anything that they told you, thank them for talking to you about it and communicating. Because that's like the connection and the communication is such a lost art. And it's such this fake facade and cloaks of whatever thrown over people's real character. Just like when someone shows you the real them, even if you don't like it, thank them, because at least they're being raw. And I think it's such a lost art. And I want people to value, and especially my girls, our girls, to value this sort of conversation where it matters. You say like, I don't want any of that. I don't want to be a Tampa Bay cheerleader. Nope. That sounds like a Dawny thing, not a Josh thing. Great story. Not for me.
And we have to be, and I feel like Fred and I talk about this often. It's the truthfulness that people sometimes don't want to hear, but that they need to hear. And so we're committed to the truthfulness of our stories or what's happening. So I talk with people like that, and they're like, so how are you doing? You know what? Today has not been the best day.
Yep.
And people are almost taken aback by that. Like, what? You didn't say good about you? It's like, no,
I'm good. How about you? No.
Exactly. No, you asked, I will tell.
I'm tired and cranky. How are you?
Exactly. I am tired. I did not get any rest. I have a headache. What is happening?
There you go.
It opens the door for people then to own, right, as you said, that rawness that we have. It is a lost art. It is very much a lost art. And it's time for those of us the small number of us who are so okay with telling that, being truthful, speaking our truth, is invite someone else to speak theirs. Even if they're concerned or they don't do it with us, they reciprocate it. Maybe they'll do it with someone else.
Yep. And for the girls too, if you're going to speak truthfully, layer it with some grace. Because man, there's nothing. Don't be the knucklehead that just vomits all your truth at people without any dose of grace or compassion or love. Like you got to be kind.
Yes.
But you have to balance it out with the truth. Like you need both sides of that plane. Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
So my mom always says it's important to be open, honest, direct, appropriate, and spontaneous, but that appropriateness has to come in.
Oh, I love that.
So that truth just
say that again.
Come.
Slow it up.
Open.
Yep.
Honest. Direct. Appropriate. Spontaneous. So all of those things can come into play, but you've got to take into consider all of those things when you have a conversation and you're communicating with people.
Appropriate's one of the big ones.
Yeah, and appropriate is a big one. You have to have appropriate in there too. You have to have appropriate.
That's so good. So you started dipping your toe in this a little bit, but
yes.
Before we get into some of the meatier questions, for you, revisit why this is the virtue that you wanted to marry your voice and story to. Like in this season of your life specifically, why is it? Because there were a lot, and that's like with everyone. I was like, "Hey, which virtue do you want?" And you landed the plane on this one. I was like, "Fantastic!" But why did you get pulled into this one?
You know what? I wish I'd say that when I chose it, that there was something really big in it. And I was like, oh, rest. Yes, I've been working on this. I've been trying to get more sleep. Remember, I told you I was at 4 and 5 hours of sleep and feeling like, ooh, I am not functioning to as my best self, meaning physically, emotionally, and all of those things. So I then started committing to, you know what? At least one day a week, I'm going to try to go for 5 hours of sleep. Okay, just one day.
Slow
And
down.
then I moved up at least 2 days a week after a certain amount of time, right? So I made some smart goals. A little bit of time. I'm going to go to 2 days of 5 hours of sleep. And then I moved up to 6 hours of sleep one day and, kind of started that process. And so now I'm at 7 hours of sleep. And so I chose it because I'm telling you, look at me just driving this. I'm telling you. And so I chose it because in that process of not having that rest and speaking more to the physical side of things, I realized that I was not able to do the other side of rest either, because I was just functioning on the fumes of what I had gotten when I had laid my head down. So I didn't have either one. I didn't have the physical rest, but I didn't have the rest of peace. And because I had not accepted that invitation not, to not worry and all of that, because I didn't have time for that, because I could only function on these 4 hours of recharge that I got.
Because these statistics ain't going to fix themselves. That's why.
That's right. I mean, this stuff has got to get done.
Oh, gross.
And so I chose it because I just have seen the benefit of me, number one, acknowledging that I was not in a restful place physically, nor spiritually, or that above and beyond, right? Whatever you consider that. I was not resting either way, and I was not getting fruit from either thing. I mean, the fruit was just as bad. It was coming off rotten on a regular basis, right? You were picking it off the tree and you were like, I got to throw that in the trash can, because there was nothing. I could do something good every now and again, but that took a lot for me to be able to have that good fruit come out of me, because I was lacking in all of those areas. And so I felt like that was such a good thing to share, because Fred and I have talked about it, whether it was me or whether it's just the importance even for brain functioning, for memory. I'm like, we have young children. We are not very super young parents. And for us to be able to withstand their development and be here with them, I've got to do something different.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I bet you there may be just one other person who may feel the same way, or who may be struggling with that rest, whether it's the physical rest or just the rest of being able to say, you know what, I'm just going to, okay, I know that there's a lot going on, but I just need to drop this over here. It's still going to be there, but I need to, let this marinate some, and that it's not me really trying to figure it out, but it's allowing the situation, or, if you are a faith-based person, letting God deal with it, or you're saying, oh, let me let this sit here, and then let me go outside and take a walk and just refresh my mind, or whatever the case may be, and just finding that rest being super important as well.
Right. So this isn't a question I plan to ask you, but you can answer or not if you want. But I love how reflective both you and Fred are on your own character, your own development, your own, I guess what you're putting out there, your own fruit, right? Your own fruit bearing of virtue, especially as parents. It's very impressive. And I don't just say that lightly. Like it takes a level of assertiveness and self-awareness to be able to step back from something and go like, whoa, I'm not on the beat I want right now, or that fruit's rotten. Like I just need to throw that junk in the trash. And I'm sure some of that's your own, but like that's a really difficult skill that I think comes through repetition and through some practice and honing that. But what would be your tip on how you've honed that skill of just reflection and self-awareness? Because so much of this virtue of rest and really trying to develop it holistically comes from your awareness of like, ooh, what I'm putting out there isn't the best me. But we can be so blinded with our own stuff going on. So like, what have you built into your life, maybe layers of helping reflect that or mirror that back to you so you can be aware in those moments? Because that's challenging. I'd love to hear your take on it.
And I have not always been that way because my fruit was always good, right? Like, what?
Naturally, right.
It must be yours is bad because mine has to be. I'm always at the top of my game.
Yeah.
Part of my reflection was marrying someone who, right, when you're in a relationship, and it doesn't even have to be a marriage. For me, it was a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
To have someone that you trust enough who's going to tell you the truth. Having a mirror, whether that's a good friend or a parent or a significant other or someone to say, you know what, you really need to work on this. And at first, with Fred and myself, first in our marriage, that really stung because you're telling me that I'm not as perfect as in my mind I thought I was.
Right.
So you're saying that something is wrong with me. And I didn't take that too well. But it was the development of, and he will say this all the time, if you're not, I'm not doing this, like, how is that? Like, what does that say about me if I'm putting you down for a negative thing? I should be lifting you up as someone who you trust. This is not for your harm. This is for your good. And so it was the repetition of, as you're saying, that repetition of knowing that I do have this solid partnership. Once again, for me, it was Fred. For others, it could be a really good friend that you trust and that you know is going to be, that's going to have your best interests at heart. And you're like, you know what? You're not doing this to make me feel less than. You are doing this because you want me to be my best self. And so from there, I started developing this like, oh, yeah, it is okay to say, I was wrong about that. So much so that I enjoy now the opportunity that if I snap and say something quick at one of my girls, I go back and I say, you know what? Mommy was very sharp with you. Will you forgive me? And to just be able to own it. And I feel like that ownership, even though it hurts and it kind of sucks sometimes to be able to do it, it shows them the importance of doing that. But it also is humbling to me to say, you're not perfect.
Right.
And so you've got to be able to own these things because that just reminds you of the work that you still need to do. And so I feel like, number one, it is that partnership with someone who you trust, who you can be able to, number one, you've got to be willing to listen to what they say.
100%.
Because if you're not willing to listen, then they could be speaking truth. And that person will stop telling you the truth if every time they come and tell you the truth, you are jumping on them about it. But you have to be to the point where it's like, you know what? I'm having this same conversation or I'm experiencing these same things over and over again, and I'm the only constant in the equation. So there has to be something to say about this. And so that, having that partnership with someone who you trust, who you can ask, tell me, what is it something that you feel like I could work on? What is it something that you feel like I could continue to grow in? And then actually working and growing on it and be willing to acknowledge it. Because I feel like when you acknowledge something, then you take away the power of it being so powerful because now it's like, yeah, I need to work on that. Oh, okay. Yeah, you do. Okay.
Right.
Now it's not this like, oh, this big deal, right? Because you've acknowledged it. You're like, I need to work on that. And now it's like, okay, yeah, we can work on that.
That's so good. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, and again, I can always trust y'all to be just raw and honest. So I love the truthfulness that comes and the vulnerability you don't know who's going to be listening to this, but it's so helpful when people will just open up and be real with the stuff that's difficult in life. And people give it a lot of lip service, but I can tell you, I know these people, they're the real deal and it's what they do. And Fred and I do it with each other all the time. Like,
you do.
Case in point, Disneyland Paris, Fred and I trying to link up and we were like, yo, you better check yourself, man. That's not who we want to be. That's not what we want the wives and daughters to see right now. But you're right, man. Thanks for calling me out. Like the tough love is love. It is a facet of love. And if you don't have that tough love, you don't really love someone.
Absolutely.
It isn't to break down. It's because what I've found with Laura and me, I think for me, it circles back to understanding someone's true desires, someone's true vision for who they want to be in character. And it's always in a calm environment when you and either your spouse or a friend, what I found with Laura is like saying the things that we want to be known by as a couple and as an individual and as a family. And like, this is the North Star that we're going to be as people.
Absolutely.
Like, this is who we are. And then when things aren't as calm, if you ever catch me off that beaten path, I need you to correct me. So when we were calm and in agreement, we agreed on this together so that it's not inflammatory when you call me on it because I asked you to. So like setting those, having the foresight to set these things up for yourselves, I would just encourage people to do that. I do it in coaching through setting vision statements, and any action we're going to work through, if it's not aligned to the vision, we don't do it because you told me your vision. We're not going anywhere but there. But as a couple or as a person, that just helps you. It helps lower the guard of defensiveness because you're like, oh, I asked you for this and you're kindly giving it to me. Thank you.
Yeah. And you're helping me. And I'm upset, but I can't be upset because I've asked you to help me with it. Like I'm upset possibly more for myself that it was big enough that you actually saw it or that you could identify it, right?
That's true.
Usually that underline. It has nothing to do with
and
you
it's so humbling. It is so humbling in the best of ways. And I'm going to circle it back to what you said earlier because the thread is there with what you said about the children. What they see is what they're going to mimic and do. And I love that you take the time to apologize to your daughters and ask them for forgiveness when you aren't who you wanted to be or how you wanted to model things aren't the way that you know it should be. That takes just a strong character because kids can sniff it out. Like when you make excuses or when you piddle around or like, oh, you always ask me to apologize to my sister, but I never see here. Like you said, I never see you. When have I ever seen my parent apologize? Yet it's this really important virtue that I need to ask forgiveness. Yeah, right. So I just think there's not a balance there. And it's so healthy to just let them see you struggling through difficulties, through being frustrated or angry or I'm sorry, I messed it up. That transparency gives them the permission to practice it.
Absolutely.
And without that, like I don't know. I'll be honest. I love my parents, but there were some things where I'm like, and I've talked to my mom about this. I'm like, man, as a kid, sometimes I just thought y'all were perfect because there were things I never saw. And I love her so much, but and everyone, I struggle with it too. But like, your kids don't need perfect. Your kids need real.
No, they need real.
And they need you to take it back to that vision.
Right?
Right.
Yes. Yeah. So, because we set us up thinking it's a different way.
And coming from the speech pathologist, the worst thing you can have is a group of people around you that aren't talking. Like, when they quit telling you things, that's a scary place as a leader, as a parent. When no one gives you any constructive criticism or feedback, you're in a bad spot. Not good. Because you ain't that good. Man.
None of us are.
None of us are. So good. So how have you seen rest, or the lack thereof, shape maybe recovery, growth, or sustainment across all of these facets, whether it's mental, physical, spiritual, relational, in a social setting, whether it's you or the ones you love and lead? Like, how have you seen this play out holistically?
I mean, definitely more is better of both sides of it. For me, and I can only speak for myself, when I had less of it, I could see I was not available. And I think that's the word I'll use. I was not available, Josh, to give of my best self because I was only trying to give of the fumes of something that I knew was me. You can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Oh my
goodness. I was operating off an empty cup most of the time. So I really feel like just in my own experiment of it, having less and saying, ooh, that doesn't work, and having more, that more is better. More is better for me spiritually. More is better for me in a physical sense. Not only I feel like my brain functions better. I feel like physically I feel better. And so, and it's not even as if this is something that I'm making up. These are like medically, I mean, if you think research-based, these are things that are powerful in research where they say, you should get this many hours of sleep. And it's not just and sometimes, and this is what I was thinking about earlier, sometimes rest, we tell our children when they say, I can't go to sleep. What do you say? Just lie down and rest. Just lie down and rest. And so sometimes when you feel, even as an adult, that you can't go to sleep, just lie down and rest, because eventually you will probably fall asleep, or you're giving your body that cease. Think back to that definition, that cease of that movement, the cease of that processing, the ceasing of all of those things that are keeping it wired and moving and going. And it doesn't have time to think about our cell phones. We plug our cell phones in faithfully when it needs a charge, but we don't plug ourselves in.
Man.
And so that rest is that plug in that we need so that we can be able to be our best selves for the purposes, for the people, for the future plans you have for all of that. So I feel like on both ends, more is better. And why not give that to ourselves? And I look at that because when I was taking it away, I'm saying, you're taking something away from you that not only affects you, but it affects everyone around you. But you are like, it is impacting you too. It's not like you're like, I'm just going to withhold this from everybody else, but I keep all the jewels. I didn't even have the jewels for myself. I didn't have it because when I didn't have rest, I couldn't give to anybody else, but I couldn't give to myself. I couldn't operate in a function to be able to do even the tasks that I wanted to do, to enjoy things the way that I wanted to enjoy them, because I didn't have them.
Yeah.
So I will say this, more is best. I know we say sometimes less is best, but then in this case, more is best.
Absolutely. Well, when you when you said that was a blanket statement that like all of us like just have to plug our cell phones in, because I thought there are the types of people that are the ones that are like their gas gauge is dinging at them and they love to flirt with disaster. So some of y'all,
you're right.
We know who you are. Y'all y'all burning it all the time. Fumes every day.
But isn't that something? But then those that we burn it all the time, we try to pop in for 15 minutes, or we try to go and get it because we want this quick, fast. And you know that that's not sustainable.
No,
even in the point where we get down, you're like, why did I do this? Because if there's an emergency, if there's a this, if there's a that, I won't be able to receive this, and this, right? Then we're knocking ourselves because we didn't do all of the things that we thought we would be able to do.
Absolutely. And speaking of the cell phones, I've done this. Some of y'all know this and maybe some of y'all don't. So if any of you that ever try to reach me on a weekend don't know what's going on with me and I haven't let you know, well, you can only hear it here, I guess, because on Friday when I get home from work, after I pick up Aria, because that's our rhythm now, I pick her up from school, I get her a little treat. It's our little time. I bring her home. We do family movie night and make pizza together. Friday night until Sunday night, I turned my phone off, like to the point of I went to our gym, the local gym we go to, and I said, hey, we usually have to use our phones with the QR code with the app for the local gym here. And I said, can you print me a card? Do you have cards? And they said, oh yeah. I said, print me a card that I can scan in, because I don't even want to turn my phone on to scan in the gym, because then I've turned it on and I leave it at home. So like if I'm with Laura, if y'all ever need me on a weekend from Friday evening till Sunday evening, like probably like this time, it's like UTC +1 is the time I'm at, Central European time. Around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm done. And
You're
then
done.
on Sunday, it's not going to be until like 8 o'clock at night, my time, once the girls are in bed. So like when they're off school until Sunday after they've gone to bed, I'm gone. Y'all ain't getting me. And if it's an emergency and you need me for the family, get a hold of Laura. If you're close enough that you need me, you got Laura's. But I'll tell you what, and it's interesting because as you said, rest, and definitely the physical rest, but sometimes giving things a rest that gnaw at us.
There we go.
Cause the anxiousness or this tether that we don't need. And I thought about it the other day. I'll spit this at you and see what you think about it. Then we'll keep moving. But like, as I was framing it in the framing episode I did, this is the way it sat with me. Because for that, I was thinking specifically of that, what I do with the phone. And when I give that a rest to really restore my relationships. In that sense, rest isn't inactivity. Rest is an activity of rightly ordered dependence. And in that moment, my dependence is I'm depending on my time with my family to restore me. I actually need this activity, not that one. So like maybe I'm just like playing with the words here, but I need to give that thing a rest and shut it down, baby, because it is too much.
You have to cease that in order to be able to focus on those other things.
So, physically, spiritually, but sometimes there are tangible objects that are just gnawing away at our attention that don't need to be there. And they are precluding fully resting for me. Like I can't find it with that thing in the background. I don't know. That's just the way Josh's brain works. That's why
that's so good. No, but that's so good. And I think we all can, as you were saying that, we all can think of that thing or those things that we need to cease or put away so that we can focus on whatever it is that we really desire, want, need to build and grow and to put seed in the ground for those certain things. And I mean, I think that's such a great charge for all of us to be thinking about that. Like, what is it that we need to rest up, that you need to put aside? I mean, outside of yourself, maybe it's that, maybe you're like me, but then what are the other things that we need to take a rest from to be putting aside? So that's good. I'm gonna be thinking about that too.
Wouldn't that be a powerful question to ask your spouse and kids? What is dad or what is Dawny? What does mom need to give a rest? Yes. So you feel the full me. Oof, that would be. I ain't ready for that one. I'll ask y'all maybe later on, but don't listen to this yet.
I think I know.
I don't know if I'm ready for it.
I know.
We about to get some gangster responses from Karina and Lydia if we ask them.
And Lydia.
You're going to tell us stuff I don't want to be hearing. Little thugs. Oh, my goodness gracious. So I think for me, I see a lot of people struggling to rest, not because they don't value it, but maybe they feel guilty. There's a lot of responsibilities. They feel like, oh, it's not a thing I can do. Or maybe there's a fear or loss of control when they slow down. What have you learned about, for you, what's really preventing yourself or maybe people around you from resting well? What have you learned through that?
That comparison trap really is a big one, right? That you are continuing to want to pace yourself to meet the next or the next. And I think that sometimes is it where it's like, oh no, but I've got to do this because, right? So whether it's the next deadline or it's the next accomplishment or, oh wait, did the neighbor just get that kind of car? Oh, I got to keep moving and doing it or whatever, right? And so I feel like when we are in others people's lanes and we're not focused in our own lane, that sometimes gets us to take our focus off of rest. Because when I'm distracted by all of the things that are happening around me, other people are doing, what I may be not doing, how long my timeline may be going, and I thought it was going to be 2 days, but this is 2 years, and what's happening, that's when I lose that ability to be able to rest. Because I feel like now I need to take this in my own hands now I need to put this in supersonic mode and I've got to just go for it. And so, but that's not always the best response to that. I think the rest in that quiet, in that space of ceasing, as we've talked about, allows us to then clear up our picture of what it is, of what that next step should be, of what that next goal should be, of setting a realistic timeline for something outside of just saying, well, I'm just going to do it all. And, just how we kind of just go willy-nilly with things, that it's almost counterintuitive to what we really want. We're wanting this, but we've got to pull back. We've got to do that rest in order to get that clear thought and that clear vision of what it should be. So I think that is a lot of what happens with people, is that we just get distracted. We are just distracted by all the things, whatever that thing is, or that person, or whatever it is. And I think we can fill in the blank. We can really see how that's decreasing our ability to rest.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it a layer deeper too, because I'm very curious your perspective on this. Because I do this with Fred all the time, so y'all gonna hear it from his wife too. But I think it's really important. Like, I'm curious, maybe whether it comes from gender or cultural differences. What do you notice as Dawny, is a Black female, that would be maybe different from those comparison trap things that we fall into? That would be something that I wouldn't appreciate, honestly, as Josh, a middle-aged white male, in the social constructs, because I feel like there are things, and I mean that sincerely, I think there's so many things that I can't even fathom because I haven't walked a mile in those shoes. And I can't, and I think leaders and just friends need to tune into this sort of response that Dawny might give you, because there's always a different perspective on something that maybe is hard or easy for you. that is totally not a cookie cutter for another person that you do life with every day.
Absolutely.
And I'd say we do life well together, but this is where I think I really learn from these conversations. Cause like, what does Josh not know that he needs to know? Or what does the listener not know that they need to know about like what it's like for Dawny in comparison to maybe me?
Yeah, that's good. Fred and I were having a conversation about this not too long ago. And from the perspective of me, not only am I a female, right, which adds another layer because there's a level of inequality that's happening there. I'm a Black female, so there's another level. So for me, if we think about rest and we think about sometimes my ability not to rest, it's because I'm needing to work not only harder, so if I think of a male and a female, I'm having to work harder to get to it, but then I'm a Black female, so I'm having to work even harder. So my time and energy and extra is being spent because I need to just stay at level or at least a little bit under what I think maybe is the the playing field. And so especially in the climate that our world is right now, right? That's something Fred and I were talking about not too long ago. And he said, I often have to keep on my mind that prenatal care for women is not always on the top of my list as a man. And I was like, that's true because you don't have children, meaning you don't birth children. You don't physically do this. You don't have to be concerned with this. And he's like, and it's not that I'm not concerned about that. It's not that it is an ever-present thing on my mind to be concerned about. So if I need to be concerned about it, I'm thinking about you, these things are happening, I can take a stance in it, but that's not going to be my first thought. My first thought is not going to be that or something else. And so I feel like that's just one example, but that's something that we all can relate to. If it doesn't have to do with you, right? If it's not something that you specifically, meaning you in general, myself as well, we don't really see it in that respect. You from the other person's shoes because it's not something that I'm thinking about. But until someone then says it, and it's like, oh, that's true. Like I didn't think about this. Like I've talked about having a child who is medically fragile and who has developmental delays and those kinds of things. But I can be right beside a parent who has a child who has Down syndrome or who has autism, and it's not a comparison for them.
Right.
And it's not a comparison for me either. It's like, no, but my child has delays. But you don't understand. My child has this and even more, and I'm having to deal with this and all of these things. And so I think if we are open, as you said before, to just that conversation, to hear someone else's truth. And I work with families all the time that it's like the families are just kind of all over the place. And so Fred and I talk about it. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's another missed session. He's like, and you already know that it may have been because the child something may have happened. The parent is trying to do all of these things. And I said, absolutely. And until you can kind of put yourself in their shoes and not take that stance up, but they're just being this, or they're just doing this to me, or they just want to compete, but saying like, oh, this person is having to do 3 times more than what I'm having to do to even function as a normal, right, human being, as a parent or as an employee or something. But I don't know that because I'm not having to do that because that's not the space those aren't the shoes that I'm in.
Yeah.
So it just goes back to that being open to knowing and to hearing someone else's truth and to say, it's not my truth, but it is their truth. And I can't compare what they're going through, but I can support them. And it's not and I don't have to be defensive or judgmental, as we talked about earlier, all those things, because it is their truth. It is what they're doing. But what I can do is I can support and I can have empathy in some respects, but I can have sympathy in others.
Right.
So.
Thank you for that. I mean, I appreciate that you let me go raw with it because it's like the rest of the conversation is good and important, but these sorts of things are important. And the target audience for me is always my little girls, and they know y'all well. But I mean, I want my 3 daughters to hear these things as they grow up and realize that, and they're aware of it. Like we talk very honestly with them when they ask. We tell them like, okay, I mean, you should always speak the truth, but you don't always have to speak all of the truth that you know. So there is a dose of discernment with what I tell a 9 and a 7-year-old.
It's appropriate. Yeah.
What? Correct. Like your mother said, what's
the appropriate amount of truth. Yeah.
The appropriate amount.
For their
But
age
I still don't want to hold some of the punches with them because they need to see that there are a lot of inequalities in this world.
Yes.
That also, like, regardless of their skin color, just as a female, that they're going to be struggling against. And not everyone is going to look at them with the love and the grace that their father will. Actually, no one will look at you with the love and grace your dad does, because no one can match that, regardless of how good they think you are. Like, that's just not a thing you can match as a daddy's love. But real talk, like, it's going to be difficult. And I don't want them to think it's just this, beautiful pasture filled with lilies and singing birds all the time, because that's not real.
That's not real.
I think so many people miss good conversations because they don't have the trust in relationship, which I really value that with you, that they can even ask a question like that. Because how do you really unearth how to make a good, positive change in a team or in a culture if you can't ask questions like that and be honest with it? Like, there is a difference for Dawny than there is for Josh. Like,
absolutely.
Get over it if you think there isn't. Like, wake up. Come on.
Yes.
Like, and we need to recognize that before we can even start. Like, it is problem framing, maybe. Like, if we can't even frame that there's a problem here, you're never going to solve it. So, like,
no,
we got to be real with it.
And then you continue to be a part of the problem.
Right.
Until it becomes personal.
Right. And it that's so true. And I'll tell you what, like, everyone has these dreams, I think, these days, of just being thought leaders and having their own little quip that sounds so good. But I hear a lot of people being like, I want someone who brings me solutions and doesn't show all the problems. I'm like, actually, I'd go a step further back than that. I don't even want people that always come to solutions. I want people that can come to me properly framing a problem. Like, I'm not saying they're bringing me problems, but like, if you can come as a person and say, let me frame something for you that I think might be a problem here, and you can give me a good framework of understanding, I want that more than a solution, because then I move beyond just a shared awareness of something as a leader, as a teammate, to maybe hopefully a shared understanding and appreciation. And that's like, I don't want to just have a shared awareness that it's different for Dawny than it is for Josh.
Yes.
I want to have a shared understanding of why.
Yes.
And what's my part in that? Mm-hmm. Because if Dawny needs to rest, or flip the script, if Josh needs to rest, it takes the other side of that relationship and friendship to understand maybe how they can help serve that. Or
absolutely.
Right. And I will ask you that, because I mean, we're on this, so this is what we're going to do for a second. Like, what would you say is something people are missing? Like, if I was going to ask you, what would be, in the scope of that question I asked you, what is maybe like the smallest thing someone could do that would have the biggest impact on the well-being of, whether it's a Josh to a Dawny, or someone who doesn't appreciate what a woman in your shoes would have to go through struggling to find rest? What is a tangible, practical way that someone could influence that scale a little bit towards the good? What would you think?
I think number one is acknowledgement. Because if we both know that there is a pink elephant in the room, but without that acknowledgement, it almost is like, so you're going to go there. So I know, and but we're not going to have a conversation about it. Or that you are waiting for me to possibly have a conversation, and then it becomes it stays a Dawny issue. So I think that when it becomes an acknowledgement, and then there can be a partnership or like an alliedship with it, you may not be able to do much about it, but that to pull just the whole thought of pulling each other up, even if it's just whatever that small tangible thing may be within a job or within a space, or maybe it's a good word out for someone. Maybe it's well, why don't you try this? Or have you heard of this? Let me put your name in. So there's small things that people can do without putting themselves on the line to feel like you are. Because I think that's why some people don't do it, because they feel like, ooh, if I'm attached to that, then that means that's going to be my brand and reputation that goes down.
Right.
Instead of saying, well, I know that that's not right. And so let's work to see how we can do it. I may not be able to change the organization, but I can help you in these little steps. And so I think it's those little things that people can do that makes it a real time. Yes, you may not be able to change the scope of pay within your organization within this year or within the next 10 years. But the thought to bring it to the next person, if they say no, you have planted your seed. And I appreciate you for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you keep planting, you keep doing that. But first step, acknowledgement.
Yeah. So good. Thank you for letting me go a little bit off the script on that one, because I think it's super important. And I'm gonna put a pin in that for a second, because in a couple of questions, I think we'll circle back to this a little bit more from maybe a spiritual aspect or a faith-based aspect that we share. But I think it's practical application. You don't have to share the same faith that Dawny and I have for this. I think it's a natural truth of humanity that will apply, like regardless of whether you share our faith basis or not. What we will unpack maybe in a little bit here is truly a very practical way of getting after solving that problem, because it is a problem. And it's not just related to race or gender and those struggles or inequalities for comparisons or inability to find rest at the same scope and scale. And there's difficulties flipped for the other side as well. I get that. But I think there is a cheat code. Let's just say there's a cheat code. I'm not the people that's like, oh, the 10 steps to success. But there is a way as a person that you can insert yourself into that relationship that will have a measurable difference. Mm-hmm. Maybe not on the physical sleep of that person, but on the rest and the peace that they feel on the inside that you can't really put a finger on. And that's important. So we're going to circle back to that, and Dawny will help you with it. But you are a fantastic, from my perspective, and I'm very observant, and I've known y'all for a while. You're a fantastic wife and mother and friend, and a strong leader too. Like, you lead well in your space. But with all of that, how do you model rest in a way that gives the others around you permission to pursue wholeness rather than burnout?
Yeah. So I think it is when I think of work, it is like taking those days or taking that time or saying that out loud. You know what? Whatever, I'm going to take a nap, or I'm going to do whatever it is. And so I think it's the modeling by the actual doing and not just the saying. So, and it's the encouragement of people to not feel, especially like in a workspace, to say, you know what, your days that's your time. You need to take this day. It should not be a badge. When I used to lead a team in Atlanta, I would tell them it's not a badge of honor to come to work every day when you're sick and when you're all of these things, just so that you can say, I came to work. I was like, if anything, I think the other way. You are being selfish because you're tired and you're sick and you're coming to work, and we're getting everything that you are feeling tired and overdrawn. So take that, like, this is your time. Take that. Yeah. It helps you be a better person. It helps us be a better team. And so I think just modeling that to say, Fred and I have done this where it's just like, I need to go to bed, or I need to go upstairs. I can't, or children are being children, and you're like, I just can't. Mm-hmm. And so being able to say that out loud and being okay with that and not feeling bad. Man, I feel that one so much. You're right. And you're just like, Fred the other day was like this on the table. He was like, and I was like, yep, okay, so I'm going to go upstairs, because it was just kind of like, you have gone to, like, you're over the edge, and it's like, yep, all right.
Sure
so
am.
Being able to, here I am, and I need to go upstairs. But it makes it so good in real time to make that a welcome space. Like, that shouldn't be an exception to the rule for people to take care of themselves, to rest. I actually almost kind of frame it where I switch it around. It's like, so you don't want to feel your best? Is this what you're telling me? Right? So you want to be sick and not feeling good? Because I'm confused. So sometimes I will take it in that respect to get them to say, like, oh, well, no, I don't want to be sick, but what you're doing by not doing that is causing you to be that way. And I'll even say that for myself. Like I said that the other day, I said, I have had a headache every day that I've woken up for the last couple of days. That's because I have not had rest either way. I have not had rest on either side. Because I have not given it over, and I have tried to do this statistic equation over and over and over and over and over again, and it's not working. And then so it's kind of like I then had to say that to say, you know what? So I'm not giving to myself because I find that I'm being this, this, and this. And so that means I'm enjoying having a headache. I'm enjoying being sharp and all of these things. I'm enjoying not being my joyful self. And I'm like, no, I don't enjoy any of that. So then Dawny, what do you need to do to solve that? And I was like, you need to get rest. You need to get rest.
Yeah. I love it. I got to give a shout out to you and Fred too, because when you just talked again about the studying, it just makes me think, because I think it was around, I might get this year wrong, but I think it was around 2021-ish or so when Fred was doing his studies through Harvard, wasn't it? Like 2021, somewhere in that window. So I got to get hats off to y'all too, because like truly just people that take steps of growth and development and learning, and you put your money where your mouth is. Like, this is a goal, this is a thing I'm striving for, and you don't want any ceilings, so you break through them and you do the work that's required. And I know it comes with its taxes and its tolls along the way on this topic of rest, but I love having friends and people that are encouraging and great role models around you in your circle, that they don't even have to necessarily say all the things they're doing. You can just watch them, just sit back.
I love that.
And I love it. Like, it's even scriptural. Like, it says, go to the ant, sluggard, consider its ways and be wise. Like, sometimes you don't need to, like, an ant ain't saying a word to you. It's not speaking any English language or any language. It's a little ant. And you can sit back and just go like, ooh, I could learn a lot from that thing.
Absolutely.
It is tireless. Goodness, look at the way they work together.
It is working.
Like, the community of this,
they are doing it.
But that sounds like a funny comparison. But I think that when I look at you and Fred, and I know you feel like there's areas where you're just like, I need to grow or stretch here, but like to encourage you and to honor you, because I do want to take joy in that. It's in Romans 12, and for a purpose. Like, we should take joy in honoring people when we see the goodness, and just like step back and like give them a hand or throw a shoe at them.
I'm telling you. We're doing the same thing for you all too. You all are doing it.
You are, and it's just in the middle of it. It can be so much. And it can just like weigh in on you. But I think it does tee into this next question so beautifully, because like, you'll know where I'm going with this and we'll unpack it a little bit later, but like fulfilling the law of Christ, there's a way that we do that. And there's a verse that says how we do that. And this is, I think, the essence of where this next to last question will go for us. But the encouragement that can lift some of that weight off the shoulders a little bit for people, of just being like, yo, I see you. And I see what you're doing, and I know it's hard work, and I know it is thankless, and I know you ain't getting the thanks from your kiddos on some of these things, right? Because they don't even know what you're doing. But as a parent or as a friend, I see you, and I'm so proud of you. And to encourage and lift people up like that, I can't even put a price tag on that. I can't put a price tag on that when you get that from a good friend who you know sees you and sees the heart of you. So I want you and Fred to hear that, but specifically you. Like, Laura and I are just like so thankful and grateful for your friendship, for having a good brother and sister that we can just rely on, who's there for accountability, reliable. It's a beautiful thing. And
it is. It is.
Think, like you said, everyone's always reaching for more and this and that, but sometimes just taking stock and inventory in the people that are in your life.
Yeah, that's good.
It's so encouraging. So I want you to hear that. I know you've been grinding on this doctorate and everything else and the stuff Fred does and the kiddos, and it might not always feel like you're crushing it, but from the outside looking in, I am blown away sometimes how y'all manage it. And it's a gift.
I appreciate it. Yep. Because from the inside looking out, just as long as you get to that goal, we may be crawling. I said, I may be on all fours, but I'll get to that finish line.
You're a month out, girl. You're so close, man.
I know. I see the light. I see it.
That's big time. March. It's coming. And I got a long road to hoe for me to get there. It feels like it. Right? It'll come.
Oh, I get it.
Oh, man. But on this last one, I think this is where it can maybe transition from, not this hasn't been practical, but I think this is where like being practical for people is always so useful. Like, and I just want to hear some of your practical insights, because I know you got them. But for me, as I was sort of framing this based on my own faith, so that's where I'm going with it, right? The creation story, it shows that God, and I mean, I think everybody that grew up in grade school or church or something, some Sunday school with their grandma making them go, you heard this, right? On the seventh day, God rested. But that begs a lot of questions. Like, did he really need to? Was he really just trying to model things so that we would follow in his footsteps? And then even like you said earlier, like Jesus says, come to me and I'm going to give you rest. So it's an invitation for something that you receive, you don't achieve. Like it's a byproduct of his presence. And as a leader, as a parent, like, ooh, that weighs on me because I'm like, phew. So I think it's constantly presented in the Bible or in scripture through the way we believe as it's a gift and it's also a command. Like it's something you need.
Yes.
So how has your faith basis, like the spiritual aspects that you've been talking about, how has that shaped your understanding of, I guess, first the character of God and your trust in that, but also in seasons when rest feels undeserved or maybe like it's a risky thing because I have so much I need to get done or it's going against the grain of what culture is telling me I need to be doing. Like, how do you balance all of that at really the heart of it, the way you view it?
Yeah. I think just Fred and I were talking the other day about worship and what worship is, and that's like that obedience to God. And the more that I don't rest, and I was thinking about this, Josh, as I was preparing, and I was saying that when I don't rest in Christ, that's me saying indirectly, as much as I want to say it's not me saying it, right? That I've got this. That I know what it takes to get this done. You don't know what it takes. So to me, when I say that out loud, it's almost like, that seems really pompous. That is not even right. That's not even achievable for you to, thinking more in a biblical standpoint, for you to know and be able to handle this and to figure it out, work it out more than God. That's interesting that you consider yourself that highly. And so when I do that, it's almost, me saying, I know the right way, and I don't. And I don't. I mean, let's just talk realistic. I think I can do this, I can do this, but those are really small things. And at the end of the day, even the small things will not be achieved if I don't accept this invitation. And do I want to do that? Because this over here has caused me headaches, waking up with headaches, being worried, being discouraged, having anxiety. Do I really want to take that on as a part of this means to, as we would say, like pop your collar to say, oh, I did that myself, right? Oh, it was all me.
Slow down, Elvis.
Exactly. And so just even saying that, really, that's what, then my worship, that act of me wanting to do it in my own will, my act of worship is to say, oh, no, but it is you that I need to, this is not only a desire, but like you said, it is a commandment. It is my worship to follow you, to say I don't have to be consumed with this. Tomorrow, it's not even going to be a big thing. 2 weeks, I won't even remember this. A year from now, it's going to be not even in my mind that I was encountering all of these things. And so, so it is an act of worship, and it is my commitment to be better at that. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I was rocking it. I was resting on both sides. This week, I have struggled. And I had to remind myself. So, right, just like anything else, it is even that continuous reminder to give it a rest, put it over here, Dawny, not only physically, but giving it up, and to say that. And so it is a continuous thing. So you don't meet your pinnacle on it. So sorry to tell you that, or maybe you have, I have not. And I think it's going to be a lifelong journey. But I feel like that is a part of who I am, as a part of who we are as a creation, is that we need to be able to give the creator the opportunity to create, to continue to create in us. And the creator can't do that if we're always trying to hold the clay for ourselves.
Man, that is so true. I think you use the word restore, and I mean, it's a little tongue in cheek, but like you can't spell restoration without rest.
You sure can.
I'm sorry.
You cannot.
Like you gotta let it rest, and maybe that's a play on words, but it's so true.
No,
and you just
it is
look
true.
at, and I think of my last virtue that we just went through, number 40, was on patience. And my really dear brother Ryan was talking about patience, and really through both the waiting for something in the future, so like the discipline to be patient, but also the ability to suffer long in patience from maybe a biblical standpoint of like, if you're enduring something, to be able to endure well. And he told it, like, if y'all haven't heard it, go listen back to that story. Ryan's a really good friend of mine. He's a lieutenant colonel in the Marine Corps. Such a dear brother. And we share the same faith basis. Not that every guest does, but he does as well. And he was telling a story about when this was before he became a Christian. He had a little Bible that he had been given when he came into the Marine Corps, and he kept it. It was a tiny little like Marine Corps Bible, a little red one. And his brother was on his deathbed, and he read repeatedly every night until his brother was in a coma, but he read until basically he fell asleep, Psalm 23. And I think of that because, again, I've teed these up intentionally. The 4 episodes we're doing in 2026 before I hit a pause was faith, prudence, patience, and rest. And patience falling on number 40 was intentional because, like, there's an endurance that comes with that number 40, even the way we believe.
Absolutely.
Like it's a season, and it's sometimes a long season of transition. But then the rest that's offered, I wouldn't even always say on the other side of what you're enduring. I would say in the midst of it. Because when you read that, it says, the Lord's my shepherd. Okay, I shall not want. He makes me lie down.
To lie down.
Like we said, it's not a request. It's like, hey, you need to be with me. That's not a request. Like, come to me.
Yes.
And I'm going to give this to you. Like, I'm a shepherd. The shepherd will be like, hey, sheep, you get over here. You're not with me right now. But then I'm going to protect you, and you can chill out in the green pastures for a little bit.
Yes.
But then I love the part that says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And it's like, why? Well, he tells you why. He's like, because you are with me. And I think that's the way that this resonates. And it's doing it like real time in my heart and mind right now as I hear you talking and I listen to Ryan talking, and I get the luxury and the joy sometimes of just sitting back and listening to wisdom of such dear friends. And it's like the light bulbs happen sometimes real time. And when you hear that, okay, so I'm walking through this valley and my rest isn't found on the other side of the difficult thing. It's found in the middle of it. And it takes a physical presence and proximity. And someone who's walking with and shouldering that load with you. The part of the load that would crush you is being shouldered by the only one who can.
Yes, that's good.
And I think when it says in scripture, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, I'm framing it up for you, but like, I want to hear your experiences with this because you do it well for others, but I want to hear how it's done for you also. Maybe like that passage, and this is the practical thing I said that Dawny would get into for you. There is a way that we believe that, like a way that you can offer rest beyond just like, oh, a spiritual faith or this, like, is to really help shoulder the burdens that are weighing on someone's soul. And in the gym, I might be like, oh, do you need a spot on that? It might look like that would be heavy for me, but someone else might manage that easily. So it's not what you perceive to be a burden. It's what they actually say is weighing on their heart.
Absolutely.
Or the parts of their heart that are really running dry that they need some wellspring poured back into. And I think in doing that, yes, as Christians, we believe that's how we fulfill the law of Christ. But I think just as a human being, when you can really dial into the actual burdens that are weighing in on people that cause their heart to not rest, I think that's it. I think that is the magic potion. Like, that's the cheat code. But for you, you do that well. But like, I want you to just sit with this one as long as you want. Like, how does that resonate with you? And like, what is your experience in that space, whether doing it for others or allowing it to be done for you? Make that practical for people, because I think this is so important for people to latch onto in this episode. So I want to give it to you and give you space with it.
Okay. So as you were talking, it really made me think of, in order to be able to meet the needs of others, and I talked about that pouring from an empty cup, we really should be pouring from our overflow. So our cup should be filled, meaning we should have that level. And this is for those of you who are like those who are like, oh, I just can't give rest. I have to give to other people. But if you are not rested, then you can't pour into anybody else. You're not able to. to the capacity that you really should, which is at that overflow. So to be able to meet someone's needs or to hear what they need, we know when we are not rested, when our needs are not met, or we're feeling like it, or we're struggling with things, we just cannot. It's hard to meet someone else's needs when yours are amplified by lack of whatever that lack is, and you can fill in the blank. And so I think it's just so practical for those of us who feel like that. Oh, but I need to give to others more than myself. Think about that airplane ride. What do they say every time we get on that airplane? Put your oxygen mask on first.
Mm.
And then you could help someone else. And I think that's practically what I have to remind myself. Dawny, put your mask on. And if I can put my mask on, then I can help someone from my overflow better than what I would do to be stumbling alongside you. And I'm also tripping you up because I can't breathe either. We're both
all
going
a hot
down.
mess. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. And I'm like, I want to help you, but I'm like causing you to fall even more. And that's like the practical. Put your own mask on. It is not a sense of selfishness. Putting your mask on allows you to be able to support the needs of others more effectively, better, with more, just more fruitful, more favor, all of that. It allows us to do that when we consider what our needs are and we are meeting those in a very consistent space. Then we can definitely meet, as Josh, you were talking about, the needs of others, to be able to help and come alongside and support them with whatever their rest is. We all know when we are so consumed with the things that we're doing and someone's like, oh, I'm struggling. You're like, oh, okay, that's good. And you're off to the next thing. It's like, they're like, I just told you that something just happened, but you don't have the capacity to even respond because you are so in your own thoughts or in your own mind or depleted, whatever that is. So that to me is kind of like that practical. If you think that you can't, that's not true. You have to in order to be able to give and do and to be and to support others. And so I really encourage you. It's almost like an imploring you to that if you feel like depleting yourself is going to help, it is not. It won't be your best self. It won't be what's going to be able to help someone else or help your children. And the thing is that most of us will do it to ourselves, but we'll encourage others to do the opposite thing. Yeah. You need to get rest. You need to this. We tell our children that all the time. We tell people who we love, you need to take the day off. You need to do this, but I'm not going to do it because I feel like I'm different. No, I'm no different. Yeah. I need to be able to demonstrate that, as we talked about that demonstration, not the lip action, but the demonstration. And I think that's the practical, catching ourselves from giving people advice that we won't even take for ourselves.
So true. Oh, it's so good.
And that to me is the practical. It's like, I don't have steps for you, but what I can tell you is that when you've told someone and you don't even do it for yourself. Mm-hmm. You catch it because you're like, I don't even do that myself. We'll start. Even if it's just as I did with one day, with one person. I started off, I'm going to get 5 hours of sleep just one day. Just one day. I'm so proud.
And now you're up to 7. Look at you go.
And now I'm up to 7 hours of sleep.
What?
And on the weekend, I can get 8. And when I don't and when I'm tipping it off on the back end, I was like, well, you know what? I can't wake up as early because I need to get my 7.
There you go.
And if I don't get 7, I feel it. So then that reminds me, you're not invincible. You can't do that. You need this in order to be able to give and do and say and be purposeful. You've got to.
Absolutely. That's so good. And it makes me think so much of, maybe a lot of people have heard this again, even if you don't grow up or attend church or any of that, like you've probably heard, what are the great commandments, right? So, okay, the first was love the Lord your God. And it says the second is like to the first, love your neighbor, but as yourself.
As yourself.
And I know we need to be putting the needs of others above our own, the needs, but the love part, I really believe this, you can't love others until you have learned how to love yourself well. And that is the practical application, is what Dawny just shared with you. Like, that's when you put meat on the bones of like that scripture of love your neighbor as yourself. Well, what does that look like? That's an actual way of what it looks like. Because I love, you sound so much like what my dad used to say. You say you can't pour from an empty cup. He said you can't draw water from an empty well.
You're right.
And the wellspring is your heart. Like, that is everything that flows out of you comes from the inside of you. And I love that, just the word pictures, because it's just tangible to me. I can sort of see what that, like, yeah, you're right. Like, if I'm dropping a bucket down in my well and it's just hitting literally rock bottom and there's no splash, I can't give you anything to refresh you. Nothing.
You're not going to get the water.
And you're like, well, of course that makes sense. Well, yeah, everything that's created is to draw a picture of how we should be. Like, it's all a natural truth. So again, you don't have to be jiving and jamming with the faith that Dawny and I have. That'd be great if you do, but if you don't, that's not what we're necessarily getting at. But you can.
You still understand.
You can't understand that, like, you can't draw stuff from inside if it's not there.
No.
And so I think as a leader, or someone entering a space where everyone is struggling with this, I promise you, whether they tell you or not, it's such a struggle. And all the things you don't even know are a struggle are a struggle. And if you're a savvy teammate, you might be able to ask yourself, like, what's a small thing I could do today that would help my overall well-being, or like lift a load off my heart? And if you're a very forward and engaged person in your team and you can share that with people, like, hey, this would really help lighten my load a little bit today. Can you help? But it's rare to find people like that. But you can enter that space on the flip side, and without getting too like deep in the weeds, imagine what it would be like to have someone walk up to you at work, or just a spouse, or for anything, and just say like, hey, we're going to spend a little time together today. Like, whether it's working or whatever, like, what can I do to like lift a little bit of weight off your heart today?
What can I do?
And like, be deliberate, like go to the heart of it, literally. It's like, what can I do to lift a little weight off your heart today that would, lighten the load a little? Anything I can do to help you out? Even if they don't give anything, the fact that you ask that lets them know I'm here for you. And sometimes that's enough, man. Like, hopefully they give you something and then you got to do it. But
absolutely. And be ready to.
I think it circles back to what you said at the beginning. As a mother and as a wife, you're like, man, I'm just appreciating that I need to be rested so that I'm present and available. And they go hand in hand, that marriage between true rest for you and the ones you love. There's so much of a physical presence and availability that's mandatory, where you aren't rushing around. You are just there, and they know, you are there for me today. Like, not for your own good. I don't have to compare anything. You're just here for me. Like, the ability to have people like that in your life, it's amazing.
That's huge.
It's huge. And I say that, like, the fact that you picked this virtue, I was so glad you did, because I was like, man, I truly, sincerely mean this. I cannot think of a better person to marry their voice to this virtue. First of all, for my girls, and also for my heart, but like, the person I know you to be, the friendship that Laura and I have with your family, like, they're the real ones, y'all. So when they talk about showing up for people, that's what they do. And the ability to find rest in the presence of someone like Dawny, it's just a byproduct of who she is. So like, yes, I hope you can do that for yourself also. And I'm glad you're getting better at it.
Yes.
But the ability to offer that to people is such a thoughtful gift. And it's an intentional gift, because it doesn't come void of your own struggles, as we've heard some.
That's good. Yeah.
But it's an intentional thought about other people, and how can I offer them the thing I'm also striving for, and how can we do it together? Because you ain't doing it alone. I promise you that.
No.
Yep. It's not happening alone. But as we land this plane a little bit, I'm going to leave you with a question I leave everybody with, because this is just sort of over to you to reflect on however you want. But if you walked away from this podcast and you're like, I wish Josh or a listener or someone would have asked me this related to rest, what would that question be, and how would you respond to it?
Such a great one, Josh. So what I landed with this one was, what does it look like, meaning in the sense of a person, if you're not rested? So that would be the question. I think we've tapped into it a little bit, but I feel like as I was preparing, there were some things that were coming that I thought about that I could see other people saying were things that could possibly be because of other things, but it really is, it comes back to rest. So the question, what does it look like when you're not resting? Like, what does that look like? So that's the question. Here's the response.
Can't wait.
Agitation, sadness, short-tempered, depressed. Could be like depressed-like symptoms, right? Achy body. I mean, all of these things, right? These things that we feel like, oh, it's old age. No, it possibly because that you don't have enough rest. Brain fog, indecisiveness, sharpness of tone, as Fred and I call it, Sharpie, that you're just kind of sharp.
I love it.
Oh my goodness. It could even be that you are sluggish. You are even speech, that you're unable to remember things, that you were not able to bring your best self, that you were once witty, but now your personality has gone so sour that no one can say a joke or you can't take a joke, right? All of these things that we think are, oh, they may just be, or, oh, I'm just feeling this way. A lot of these are signs of not having rest on both sides. Not having that rest of ceasing to do something, meaning that ceasing of movement, as Josh talked about, that giving up of that item. These are all things that are our bodies and our physical and our mental natural responses to lack of rest. And I think I feel like I mentioned a little bit of health, but there are many health things that happen with our bodies when we don't have rest. And even if it's not that, the physical rest, it could also be that other rest of, if we've talked about like that giving over, right? That accepting that invitation not to worry and be concerned. That's another part. But a lot of that causes some of those other rest things. Like if I'm worried, that's going to cause me to have I didn't even add that. Headaches, which I've had for the last 3 days, right? Let's just check.
Oh, the thing I'm having. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. So those are all I could say, oh, it was the stress of not being able to answer that question. No, it was that I did not rest to know that it would be answered, or that I would get the help that I did in the right time to answer that question, or that I actually needed to sleep well, but I couldn't because I was so worried about something. So that would be the answer. I feel like we can come up with a lot of reasons why we have these isms that are happening to us and why we are short with someone or less responsive or less of all of these things. But I really feel like in the context of our conversation, a lot of these things are byproducts of lack of rest.
Absolutely. That's good. Oh, I'm so glad I asked that question at the end of it all the time, but especially
I'm
from
telling
you.
You do it.
Man, that's a great question, because there ain't no way I ought to come up with that one on my own.
You're right.
Not a chance. Maybe it took me a long time though. Maybe it is the brain fog. It's a brain fog. We'll leave it at that one. It's
just the brain fog,
it's
right?
just a brain fog. It ain't that. I love that though, and it's to be your best for those people. I'm encouraged listening to you as well, that you have to be vulnerable enough, I guess is the word I would go for, to open and it's risky sometimes. Like if you have gone through a lot of relational damage with people and you lack trust, like the trust that is required to find rest in someone's presence, like that's a trusting relationship when you can really rest around someone.
Absolutely.
Like a person that like you're not forced to be with, but you choose to be with because you know in their presence, maybe I'm not sleeping, but I can be at peace.
I can rest. Yeah, that's good.
My shoulders go down and the corners of my mouth goes up, and it's my heart feels rested.
I can actually breathe. Yes, yes.
And those people, if you got them in your life, don't let them go. Like, don't let them go. I'm just telling you right now, like find those people, but be the type of person that can open yourself up to being restored by that type of person as well.
Don't
be so on guard that you can't rest in anyone's presence. Like they're out there, but like
absolutely,
you can find it. And that's what I'm challenged with. Cause there are times where we all put on this facade or this cloak of, whatever you want to call it. And it's so unhealthy. Just let someone fill your heart up. Let it happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
also
it's so good.
work. And Josh, as you're saying that, I think on the opposite end, sometimes it's not that receiving. Sometimes we have got to work to be that person for others.
Oh, so much
when
so.
When we have experienced that, we know what it feels like. So we should work at it so that when someone needs that and we know we've experienced it, we want someone to feel comfortable enough to feel that rest and that peace when they're around us.
Yes.
So if you're one who doesn't want to do something for yourself, once again, and you're all about other people, well, then do that so that someone else can feel comfortable in your presence to get that rest that you feel like they need. And then that's going to be a win-win because now you're working on yourself because you want others to then work on themselves.
It's so true. And I'll tell you what, like Laura and I started doing this year. We try to be good about encouraging people, but Dawny knows this because she's on the receiving end of this. And if you're not on the receiving end of this, like, don't take offense. So there's a tight circle that it's okay to have a tight circle of, it can only go so large. But there are a group of close friends and family that every few weeks we send a message that lets them know, hey, we love y'all. We're thinking of you. We're praying for you. Just wanted to encourage you. And I tell them, I'm like, hey, this is generally like a copy paste text, but I put a calendar reminder. And I got to give kudos to Laura, of course, because it's both of us together talking about how do we do this? Because we were talking about how much in this season, and I'll let Dawny tip the hat a little bit in a second for you, but in this season of transition we're entering, like we need to be restored and charged up and filled and encouraged through things. And I was really challenged, and Laura completely was on board with this. So like, why not model the things in our lives and express the thing that we are saying that we want in the way we believe when our heart is really longing for something individually? I find the best way to like usher that into my life is by sharing the thing that my heart is longing for in community. Like, so if you want to see, I wish the world was better this way. Well, go be the change you want to be. Like, go do the thing. Cause I tell you what, it is so life-giving. And yeah, it took us to start it. And there's not everybody that always responds. Some people have radio silence. That's not the point. Because we still love them and pour into it. But sometimes you do get the reciprocation. And so the thing you are yearning for, be that. And I promise you, you can't go wrong with that.
No.
And it's been such a gift because if anything happens, like what's the harm in telling people they matter and you thinking about them? And it doesn't have to be like a spiritual I'm praying for. If you're not a Christian, fine. Like let's just take it as like, be a friend. Be the friend you want people to be for you. Do the thing. Just do it.
Just do it.
No expectations in return.
That's
just
good.
Be genuine and tell people you matter and you need to know that. And I ain't going to stop. And Dawny will tell you, she could probably pull the text up like, if you don't want this to happen, delete it because it's coming on a rhythm anyway.
Yes.
I don't care. You can block me if you don't want it because it's coming. That's the Josh stink that I throw on it. Y'all are getting it. But I feel like that's so, people are always him-hawing around and waiting for other people to do the thing for them. And it really challenged me to be like, just be that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that you and Fred are that way. Like, just be it, man. Yeah.
Yes. I tell my girls, I say, do not be a victim, be a victor. Do not stand in the seat of a victim. You can't. You can't be a victor. Be that. And just as you're saying, be what you have wanted others to do or to give. Be that.
It's so good. And for you and Fred too, I know the sacrifice that it's taken. Even we're hitting pause on the back to good until we land on the other side of this transition. But like, even that, I've got to honor you in that because I know that there's times when he's got to record with me and that causes like, there's Dawny with the girlies because Fred has committed. So when Fred commits as a husband, I know that means the family has committed.
We commit. Yeah. Yeah.
No, and
that's on both sides.
I've got to honor and see that because people like, if you've been blessed by Fred showing up, which he does like clockwork because that's who he is, there is always, I don't even say in the background because I don't like that sense of like behind every good man, there's a good woman. No, beside every good husband, there's a good wife. And beside every good wife, like they are side by side, stride for stride all the time. And it might be literally in the background. You might hear a little like laugh from the girl in the other room, but like that is Dawny supporting her husband right by his side. And that just hosting this platform with your husband, this is the face of what makes that possible. It's the other side of the relationship that allows Fred to show up for y'all and share his gifts and his wisdom and his insight and his voice. And man, it's such a joy to have you here today because I want people to just experience it. Like there's always a layer deeper and there's always a community. Whenever you see success, there's always a community that's enabling that.
Absolutely.
There's always a body. For us, we call it the body of Christ, but there's always a body of people that's letting that one person stand out. David always has a Jonathan. There's always that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm so blessed by who you are. Thank y'all for joining so much. I'm going to give the last word over to Dawny. Dawny, we're so thankful for you. Go ahead and close this out. Enter us into a season of rest. And what you got for the people as we close it out today?
Yes. Well, Josh, as you and your family are moving into a season of rest, as you retire after 24 years of service, I encourage you as a listener to also accept your season of rest, to put your mask on first so that you are able to do and go and be and fulfill those things that you are called to do and be and see and give. And we know that that doesn't happen if we are trying to pour from an empty cup or go from an unrested position. So I encourage you today to consider what you can do in that action step, just to do one small step and then make another small step and another small step. And remember, this is for you, but this also helps those around you too. So we encourage you, put that mask on, and we are excited to hear and see what you do when you are well rested.
Dr. Hill, 1 month out. I can't wait for it. All right. So much love to you and the family. Thanks so much.
Yes, thank you. Bye, everyone.
See y'all soon.